right, welcome everyone. We're very excited to have you here today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are joining us from Canada, Indonesia, India, USA, Romania, Germany, Vietnam. Bom dia in Brazil. Buenos dias a mi gente de Chile, USA. Everyone from all over the place, welcome. Very excited to have you here. My name is Lucio Daza. I am the VP of Product Marketing here at Katalon. And with me, I have today Vu Nguyen. He is the Head of Research at Katalon as well. Welcome, Vu.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Very excited. All right. Before we begin, there is a couple of housekeeping items that I want to run by the audience. This time is yours. I want you to ask any questions that you may have. And even though we have a Q&A for you at the end of the session, please don't wait until then to ask any questions that you may have. If you have any questions that you want to ask, go ahead and hit the Q&A button that you will see at the bottom of your screen on the Zoom interface that you're working with right now. There is a couple of bubbles, Q&A, hit it, put your question in there. We have a team in the background who is going to help you with any questions that you may have, any links, any reference that you may need to our site, or anything that you need clarification with as we discuss our topic today. You are more than welcome to continue using the chat to provide with feedback or messages that you want to put in there. However, if you post questions in there, I cannot guarantee you that we will get there to them on time. So once again, use the Q&A button, best way to ask any questions that you may have. Also, this time is yours, so please enjoy. What are we doing today? So today we're going to talk about the key insights and trends of the 2022 report that we have released. And by the way, if you have not read it, we will go ahead and provide a link for you to download and read the report at the end of the presentation, or you can also go to our katalon.com website and we have it there. We are going to discuss the most common effective QA techniques, also the trends in test automation and AI that we have been able to uncover. And also we will talk about what is the return of investment for test automation in this case. Also, we are going to go ahead and dig into the challenges that people or testers are facing when trying to reach quality at speed. And of course, we have some recommendations for you. And last but not least, we're going to talk to you about how the Katalon platform can help you future-proof your QA process in 2022 and beyond. Without further ado, I want to go ahead and pass the mic to Vu, who is going to start telling us all the exciting things that we found in this report. Vu, the time is yours.
Thank you, Lucio. I'm very excited to share with you guys the latest report we have for studying on the survey on the state of software quality. This study is intended to discover the insights and report trends and offer recommendations for the QA community. This year's study we carry out in two phases. In phase one, we ran an online survey of more than 3,000 respondents who had direct involvement in quality practices at their organizations. The survey consisted of 28 questions distributed via many channels of software development and testing communities around the world. In second phase, we performed follow-up interviews with experts and experienced professionals to gather insights and opinions about the results we obtained in the first phase. Next, please. Here is a summary of the respondents' demographics. In terms of the team size, we excluded those who worked individually, as this survey is intended to gather a team's experience. The majority of respondents worked in teams of 6 to 10 members, but we also have many respondents working in large teams of more than 30 members. In terms of the professional role, the QA engineers and managers make up the largest group of respondents with a total of 44%. The respondents worked in different industries, including software, IT, banking, financial services, insurance, and healthcare. About 50% of them work in the software and IT sector, but their projects involved other sectors as well. Next slide, please. Now I'm sharing the insights and trends we obtained from the report. We asked respondents to choose which QA techniques they applied for their projects. We excluded the manual testing as it is clearly the default QA technique applied in all software projects. The results show that many QA techniques are applied by teams today, ranging from test automation, code review, monitoring, testing in production, and to pair programming. The most popular QA technique is test automation, of course. Over half of the respondents use automation for integration, system and acceptance testing. And 63% of respondents apply automation for all levels of testing, including unit testing. This survey confirms that automation is crucial today for delivering software quality at speed, given in the Agile and DevOps environments. The second most popular QA technique is code review, a traditional QA technique performed by developers. This activity is important to prevent and eliminate bugs before system testing. This is also a technique supporting shift-left testing adoption today. This survey points out an interesting trend. Monitoring and testing in production is used by 38% of respondents. This technique involves many monitoring and testing activities in real environments with real users and real data. Regardless of how much teams test pre-production, there are bugs in production environments. So instead of spending a lot of time and effort on pre-production testing, teams speed up the release of software builds and continue testing in production rather than trying to produce error-free software. Next slide, please. The need to discover software quality at speed has created several trends in software development landscape. One is to increase the shift-left testing adoption by employing various QA techniques early in software lifecycle. Our analysis shows that teams use a number of QA techniques together for the same projects. They include automated system and unit testing, code review, coding guidelines, monitoring and testing in production. Code review definitely comes with code guidelines, and 60% of teams use code review together with test automation. Our survey reviewed the most popular techniques are also the most effective ones. Teams end up using them because they are effective, of course. About 65% of respondents found that automated integration and system acceptance testing is effective, but automatic unit testing is a bit less effective. On the other hand, many participants did not apply a technique, but they believed it to be effective. For example, about 20% of respondents use pair programming, but twice that much, around 41% said it is effective. We suggest that it is worth investigating and using less popular techniques such as pair programming and model-driven development. Even if they are suitable, they may turn out to be effective for your projects. Next, please. The satisfaction with software quality upon delivery is one of the most important measures of software success. And we've also asked participants to provide their satisfaction level of software when they deliver software to the market. It is good news for the community to know that most people are satisfied with their software quality, with an overwhelming 78% of them rate the software quality as good or better upon delivery. And just only 7% of them were not very satisfied with their product quality when they deliver the product to the market. Being happy with quality, people are not equally satisfied with the QA practices and tools used for their projects. just about half of the respondents said they were either certified or very certified with the QA practices and tools. We found that people are expected to further improve QA practices and tools, not only for delivering high quality, but also for reducing effort and shortening time to deliver software builds and releases. Test automation is traditionally applied for regression testing, and most teams begin their automation with regression testing. And this survey confirms this fact with about half of the respondents applying test automation for regression testing. But also we found that test automation is increasingly used for other activities, including analyzing test results and generating test strips and test data. Within the automation tools become more robust and able to perform more testing activities automatically. AI capabilities also help automating more testing activities, such as generating test cases, test strips, test data, optimizing tests, and analyzing test results and application. To apply test automation successfully, team needs to have good automation tools. And this is a must for most of the teams today. In the survey, we have seen almost 100 tools used by the QA community. And here are the most widely used ones. Selenium and Appium are the most popular open source frameworks for automation. They become essential engines for web and mobile app test automation. We also found that automation tools and platforms are becoming popular, including Katalon, TestOps, and Postman is the dominant tool for API testing and automation. Selenium is an engine for automation. To use it effectively, teams have to build their own automation frameworks and use Selenium for execution. The charts shown here show that percentage of respondents using Selenium to build their own frameworks for their test automation from our surveys in 2018, 20, and 21. What we can see here is a significant decline in building custom automation frameworks based on Selenium. At the same time, tools and platforms like Katalon, Perfecto, and Cypress that use Selenium and Appium engines become more popular. This shows that teams use these tools instead of building their own automation frameworks and tools. These tools become more powerful and meet user needs for test automation. Building a custom automation framework is time-consuming and requires expertise and experience. QA teams can save time and enjoy earlier and better return on investment by using existing tools in the market. Yeah, the return on investment is also an important measure that our survey asked the respondents. Return on investment is perhaps the most important measure for automation benefits. So this survey shows that the return on investment for the test automation is rather high. The QA community has seen a positive return on investment, with the majority of people reported having seen 20% or more of cost saving for their project's automation investment. This is also an average a return on investment for teams using automation for at least 2 years. Only 6% have experienced a loss and 9% no saving. There are a number of factors affecting the return on investment. One is the duration of applying automation, as requires upfront investment for automation, such as training and tool investment. We expect that the return on investment turn positive within 1 year. Tools yield and training effectiveness are also important factors as they determine whether your test automation project is feasible or not. We have seen many teams giving up their test automation because choosing the wrong tools and putting insufficient training for their resources. When applying automation, you should start using the right tasks, such as focusing on regression testing and stable requirements. It is not effective if you spend too much time on maintaining test cases because the application and the test is frequently changing. We have seen great advancements in AI in the past 10 years. It has a great potential for many industries, including software testing. AI technologies can be applied to many testing activities that have been traditionally done manually. Despite its potential, AI adoption for test automation has been low, according to our survey. Less than 50% of respondents said to use some AI-enabled capabilities for their testing automation activities. They use AI for script, data generation, defect detection, task prioritization, and selection. There are several reasons for a low level of adoption in AI. Many tools integrate AI capabilities, but they are very limited by focusing on just only a few activities of testing. We don't have comprehensive tools today for supporting AI and many automation activities. The lack of data for building reliable data model, AI models, is also another reason for low adoption of test automation and AI. Our study also interviewed participants about challenges they face to achieve high quality software. This survey shows that two most common challenges to achieving high software quality are frequent requirement changes and the lack of time. Frequent requirement changes result in the changes in software releases, requiring teams to maintain test cases and data accordingly. This reduces the effectiveness significantly. In fact, many teams gave up test automation and performed manual testing instead. The lack of time is also cited as a common reason for not applying automation. It is necessary for teams to make up upfront investments for automation. They need to spend time to train team members and build automation frameworks. The lack of time prevents them from doing so. For applying test automation, top two challenges are the lack of skills and experience in tools and frequently changing requirements. Also, we have seen changes in tools and practices such as Agile and DevOps. The challenges remain the same over the last 5 years in our study in 2018. The challenges to be there at least in the near future. Still, we have seen the lack of automation tools and capabilities no longer a major problem as it was 5 years ago. This indicates that automation tools have become more easy to use and more reliable. And here are several recommendations we obtained and we report in our study. We recommend teams adopt monitoring testing in production to achieve quality at speed. It is the only QA technique post-release. Regardless of how much test is done pre-release, there are always bugs in production. So get ready for bugs in production and do testing instead of spending too much time making bug-free releases. We have seen teams giving up test automation after just a few months trying it. And they said they didn't have time, they didn't have didn't see benefit. To overcome the barrier, we recommend focusing on training and being more persistent in applying automation. Benefits will be seen sooner or later. This survey suggests applying a number of QA techniques together, such as code review, coding guidelines, automate unit and system testing, and testing in production. These are the effective techniques for your project. And of course, AI seems to be the future of testing. We recommend teams adopt them by building AI models or using AI augmented tools available in the market. Next, please. Yeah, and here there are a number of features, a number of activities that we can apply AI for. AI has a lot of potential for changing the landscape of test automation. We will likely see AI technologies to be applied for many activities in QA lifecycle, from test planning management, test generation execution to evaluation, report, and monitoring. AI is used for intelligent software analysis to detect defects, testing gaps, vulnerabilities, for automated test generation, test repair, test impact analysis, and many more. Many AI capabilities are used for test automation today. For example, visual testing, self-healing, automated test generation are features that we can see available in many automation tools such as Katalon and Functionize. And we will see more automation tools introduced with advanced AI technologies in the coming years. Yeah, however, we asked the QA, what QA goals to be primary in 2022. To trust up the respondents focus on improving their existing QA practices and processes, and around 60% on increasing automated tests. So those are the basic QA practices and processes. So we need to start with the basic and essential QA processes and practices. If we are doing them well, we can adopt more advanced techniques easily in the future. Yeah, and now Lucio will share how Katalon helps address challenges for achieving high quality software.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Fu. This is a lot of great insights coming from that report. And also we have a lot of questions coming in the Q&A. Please keep them coming. We are trying to answer as many as possible. As I mentioned, we will have a Q&A in a few minutes as well. But with all these insights that we just saw from the report, I want to share with you one of the cool things and one of the observations that we have seen with what we're calling right now the Katalon Platform. And you have seen it so far. You're familiar with the studio. We created a studio based on a problem that we observe in the industry, and we wanted to make automation easier for you, for the tester. We know that there is multiple automation solutions or frameworks, like in this case, Selenium, that makes it that while there is a solution that you can implement, it might be very, very difficult. And one of the things that we don't want for you is to think of automation as a difficult task to accomplish. And the reason for this is, as Vu mentioned earlier, there is really a high demand for software where time really is not on our side. And when I say us, is us the testers, us the developers. There is a high influx of requirements, of changes, because if you think about the world where we are right now, everything that you have surrounding you has software in it. Your cell phone, your wearable watch, your even your headphones, if they are noise canceling, there is stuff in all, there is code in all these things that make our lives easier and better. And because of that, we created a studio. We have now a solution that allows you to, in a very low code way, create your scripts and test your software so you can provide a better, not only a better result, but also have a better life. You want to go ahead and write the scripts and not have to become an incredible, extraordinary coder to be able to test your application. Moving on, we also have, and you may remember that a few months ago we introduced Katalon TestOps, which is an orchestration platform that allows you to do all the planning, all the management, and also execution. And not only that, but get insights and reports from your testing process. And what that means is that you're getting not only data about what is happening, but also data that is going to allow you to make data-driven decisions on the testing. What is working? What is not working? How is my testing process going? And the reason why we have this is because the test automation on its own is not the 100% solution for to have a better testing process. So, and actually, we have observed if you automate everything, you're going to end up with so much data that you need, or so many artifacts to manage, that you need an orchestration platform. And then we also have observed that there is an industry shift right now. We have multiple applications that you need to make sure that they operate equally on every popular environment that your stakeholders are using it. And by that, I mean, say, for example, you're creating an application for scheduling. You want that to work perfectly on your browsers or on your customers' browsers, as well as your their mobile devices, and so on and so forth. So we've noticed that, and because of that, we also have introduced Test Cloud. This happened a few weeks ago. Actually, in January, we released the trial version of Test Cloud, which is a cloud-based platform that allows you to go ahead and do execution of your tests from Studio or from TestOps directly on cloud environments without the effort. And by that, I mean you can just go ahead and select which environment do you want, and then we will go ahead and take care of all the heavy lifting in the background. You don't have to worry about having to deploy local ad hoc environments to do any testing. You don't have to worry about being limited to, say, for example, you're working with Studio Free, and then and you're doing tests only on your local machine. Now you can leverage Test Cloud to expand the test coverage of your application and make sure that you give a more consistent and reliable experience on your end product. All right, so you count with enterprise grade testing right there. Just by leaving the heavy lifting to us, we can go ahead and launch these environments for you. With all this being said, up to this point, we had the opportunity to write scripts in the studio and also do the orchestration and gain insights using TestOps. And now with Test Cloud, we have what we call the Katalon Platform. And this is something that we want you to take advantage of. Now we have an end-to-end experience on the same place where you can go ahead and do automation, low-code automation on your API, web, mobile, or desktop applications. On top of that, you can do your orchestration, where, as I mentioned, you can get your insights, you can do execution, and you can do management, and also all the configurations with your pipeline. And all these tests can go ahead and be executed on cloud, on Test Cloud, or using our runtime engine. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because we are working on making sure that you, the tester, have a better way to get to a much better product faster, without having to do too much heavy lifting, without having to sacrifice your time as a tester to become a networking engineer or something else, trying to deploy things so you can test on, or being limited by what your IT department's bandwidth would be in this case. So now you can use your Katalon account to take care of everything that you need in your testing process. With that being said, I am going to move on into some smart features that I wanted to mention before we go into the Q&A. You can leverage test flakiness, self-healing, smart weight image locator, and also visual testing using Katalon. So these are we have a lot of information on how to use each one of these features and how they can help you. As a matter of fact, a few months ago, we did a webinar on how to leverage a studio to figure out test flakiness and how to reduce it and how to deal with that. So there is a lot of information out there that in terms of all the smart features that we're offering and that we also are about to offer in the future, which I want you to stay tuned, because there is a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline. So before we go to the Q&A, I am going to address some of the questions that we have in the panel, but also I want to encourage you to download the report. If you go to katalon.com/stayquality 2022 thank you. You will find the PDF of the report that we were analyzing today. In addition to that, we have a lot of information in our blog that you can go ahead and take a look at katalon.com, resource centers/blog, and please go ahead and check the documentation as well. A lot of the questions that you may have, we may also have available in there. And we want you to become an expert. We want you to be awesome at testing. And because of that, we have created the Katalon Academy. It's a free online learning platform where you can go ahead and learn anything and everything that you need to know about not only Katalon, but also testing. How can you be much better at creating better software, at guaranteeing better software for the organization that you're working with? All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and kick it off on the Q&A. We have multiple questions that have been addressed in the Q&A, and also I will go ahead and share some of them with you live, so we can since you cannot see the questions that are coming in, you can also understand the answers. But there is one here really quick that I want to read to you, Vu, if you want to address this one. It says, I'm working on a let me see if I can get this correctly. If I'm working on a 3 manual tester team, what should we do to apply test automation?
Yeah, I think the first thing to apply automation is that whether you decide to use existing tools in the market or you build your own custom automation framework using Selenium or Appium. So that is the first thing you have to decide. And as I show in our study that more people are now using the existing tools in the market instead of building their own automation tools or frameworks, because in the benefit of existing tools having a lot of features, powerful features, and many tools are using AI technologies to improve the capabilities of AI automation.
Right.
So I think this is first thing you have to do. And the second thing that you need to do is that you decide on what activities, what kinds of features you're going to automate. I recommend going with the stable ones and for the regression testing. Yeah, if you can add some more, Lucio.
Excellent. Got it. That is very good. And the other thing that I want to add to that is, it doesn't matter how small or large your team is. One of the great things about, especially about a studio, is that you can, regardless of the size of the size of your team or the level of maturity of your testing process, you can use a studio and any of the Katalon products in that environment. So say, for example, you're a solo tester, you're a small shop that is getting started. There are multiple solutions out there like Selenium. However, that is going to take you a lot of time. And like I mentioned before, time is really not on our side. So, I mean, Studio, go ahead and download it. It's free. You can go ahead and start testing right away with it. And as you grow and as you scale, as your application continues growing and scaling in demand and scaling in complexity and changes and so on and so forth, you can continue. Katalon continues growing with you. You can start adding, say, for example, if you need to start testing in some other places that is not only your local machine, you can use KRE. As we mentioned, you can use also Test Cloud to have access to any one of the testing environments. And of course, you can start using TestOps to do your orchestration and get insights and so on and so forth. So there is limitless possibilities for you to start with Studio. And there is a question that also came in the Q&A that is related to this, and it mentions, can this tool be used for desktop apps or just browser? And we have a lot of information in this, and as I showed in the diagram before, we allow you to test on web API, mobile, and also Windows apps. So really there is a wide variety of things that you can do with our tools. Another question that came in here reads, my project had just started introducing test automation. Should we script a lot of test cases to have a wider coverage, or keep a small number of test cases with a stable framework first?
Yeah, I think depends on what kinds of project you are working on. So for if you have to start with a small set of stable test cases first, otherwise you are confused and you get confused with many test cases to manage. But along the way, if you have stable ones and you can expand further, and at that time, you have to have a good organization of the test cases, and you have to monitor the progress of the execution of those test cases. So let's focus on the stable ones and for the regression testing, and you can expand further along the way when you recognize the benefits of test automation. And at the same time, your team get used to and get more experience with test automation so that they can manage a larger set of test cases along the way.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I think we have time for a couple more questions. There is one very interesting here. It says, we have been working on an internal test automation solution using Selenium. The stability really has not been really good. What should we do? And then he mentions, in case of moving to Katalon Studio, do we provide a, oh, I see, what's the question? In case we decide to move to Katalon Studio, do we provide a migration, or do we support, does Katalon Studio support migrating the existing tests to, I'm guessing from Selenium to Katalon Studio, and is it difficult to do that?
Yeah, go ahead, Lucio.
Okay, cool. I'll take that one. So yeah, this is not difficult at all. Actually, excellent decision if you want to move to Studio. One of the things that, as I mentioned before, you can use Selenium. However, that is going to take a lot of time to put together. And the reason why the Studio exists is because of that. Most of our users, I think it's even more than 60% of our users were dealing with this issue before, and we saw that in the community. We saw that on the testing environment, and that's why they moved. That's why we created a Studio, so you didn't have to deal with frameworks that you needed to do all the heavy lifting yourself. So yeah, please. You go ahead and evaluate our tool. As I mentioned, it's free to use. Go ahead and download it and get started with it. And yes, Studio supports migrating Selenium tests to Studio. So we will go ahead and put the link to the documentation. Actually, let me go ahead and put it in the chat window really quick, so all of you have access to how to do this migration. And all right, so let's see what else. There is an interesting question here, Vu, and if you don't mind addressing this, it says, we're using Selenium, which smart or AI capabilities Katalon will offer in the future?
Yeah, this is exciting for us. We're going to work on that. And in 2022 here, we're going to release a lot of features enable using AI technologies. For example, we improve the self-healing techniques. We applied visual testing to test by looking at the screens of the application, compare the baseline versus the new updates. We are going to release a capability for test optimization, identifying the set of test cases to be tested at the time, given that you don't have a lot of time to do testing. And then we have some capabilities that allow users to analyze the gaps between what is tested and what is going to be tested in the future. And then optimization, tech impact analysis are those features we're going to work on and release in the near future in Katalon and Katalon Studio and other tools in our Katalon framework, Katalon Platform.
Right, that is very exciting, and it is interesting to see how the Katalon platform is evolving to make it easier, right? To now, especially in TestOps, you get all the insights, and as we introduce more AI capabilities, you're not only going to get reporting, but you will get the opportunity to make data data-driven decisions on your pipeline, like what is working, not only what is happening, but what should you do based on everything that you're seeing in the data that is being interpreted on the data. And one of the great benefits of this is that, prior to having any orchestration, you may have had data coming from all over the place, and then you may have to spend a lot of time trying to mash up all this data, maybe using a data transformation tool and so on and so forth, and to finally 8-10 hours later come up with a decision. And now we're trying to make these, what we're doing is providing a platform that is going to allow you to focus on what matters the most, which is testing, and the way you can go ahead and get the decisions that you have to make right away for your team and meet your SLAs and meet the quality requirements that are being asked from you and your team. In your environment. Let's see. I think we are running out of time. Let me see if I can squeeze a couple more questions here. I'm going to go through the panel really quick, and I want to thank all of you who have been answering the questions live as well. Okay, so we have some good suggestions. I'm not going to answer everything that we have here. Some of this stuff can be addressed also in the forum. Let me see. There is a question about, do you guys offer packages to leverage everything, including the Katalon ecosystem or the platform? So right now, you can go ahead and check our pricing page, where we have details about what is it that you can leverage once you obtain a Katalon account. What I would tell you, though, is one of the great things about this is that, especially right now with the introduction of Test Cloud, is that you can use you can decide exactly what is it that you want to use. And of course, we will help you if that is the case. But from Studio, you can either use Test Cloud to do your executions, or you can also use KRE, or you can use both to complement and increase the bandwidth of your testing. And also, once you have a Katalon account, you have also, I would encourage you to start also looking into TestOps, which is going to allow you to have access to the broader ecosystem. So yes, please go ahead and take a look at that as well. Let's see. Let me jump in here really quick. Pricing of Test Cloud right now. Good question. The pricing of Test Cloud right now has not been revealed. Go to katalon.com/testcloud. Actually, no, sorry. Go to katalon.com and then go to products, and you will see the Katalon Test Cloud landing page right there, which, as a matter of fact, is katalon.com/testcloud. Let me go ahead and put that here in the chat window, so you can access that. Right now, we are offering a free trial, which will last for a month or two more, I believe, and then after that, we will do the release of the commercial version. But right now, you can actually go and start for free. You can give it a try. If you're a Studio user or if you're a TestOps user, you can go and start using Katalon Test Cloud for free. Please, I encourage you to please go ahead and do so. Let us know what you think about it. We want to hear your feedback. We want to continue improving the product for you so you have a better testing experience. All right, so I think we are running out of time. Vu, thank you so much for your participation. Thank you so much for all the insights that you have provided. And I want to thank all of you, our attendees, for your time, for paying attention to everything that we had to say here. As I mentioned before, go ahead and download the report if you have not read it yet. It's on our website. Let us know what you thought about this webinar, and stay tuned for all the great things that we have coming down the pipeline for you in behalf of Katalon this year and the years to come. So once again, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. Be safe, be healthy, and good evening, good afternoon, good night. Bye-bye, team.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone.